Call Halal La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the head apostles of GMS and a salute to you Akians that are tuning in. I'm the servant, the body, GMS Boston. And pretty much coming back with another show, to edify the hopeful elect, wherever they may be. This work of ours is, I would say, is indeed very, very important. No matter how many views you get, no matter how many subscriptions to your channel you have, you're being part of something great, which is the establishment, of the kingdom of heaven, of the kingdom to come, and the downfall of the kingdom of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right. Now, we know the scriptures say that, roughly paraphrasing the parable of the loss of the sheep, that the Lord will rejoice more over one sheep that is come back than out of the 99 sheeps that he already have in the fold. So having said that, if you don't, if you're not getting, a lot of attention, a lot of following, that's okay. As long as one, even if one member of the elect, through your show, through your edification, receives this truth, you've done your job, man. You've done your job. It only takes one. It only takes one. It only takes one individual, or even one called, man. Because through that one called, he may do some work and may wake up a real member of the elect. So it doesn't matter how many views you get. Even if you get 0 views, you get that only one. It only takes one. For the Lord to work, through that man, through that person, and to pour upon his spirit, man. All right. So having said that, I'm going through the spirit, but I really wanted to get into this article here from RT News. Now, there's some shit going on, with these devils claiming war crimes in Ukraine. All right. What's going on? There was this small city of Buka, where they presented a couple clips of some dead people on the streets, bound up, which could be staged. You know what I mean? And you got the current president calling Vladimir Putin a war criminal, and he needs to be tried. And truth be told, we're not in favor of either side, man. We're in favor of this war getting popping. All right, because this third world war got to happen. This kingdom needs to be divided and destroyed. All right. And whether they're Russians or Americans or whatever, the so-called white man is the nation of Edom. Doesn't matter what land they're at. Doesn't matter where they're at. They're still Edomites. All right. And they're and they still need to be taken down, and put under subjection. All right. Under the new rulership. Because look what the hell they done with the world, man. They turned this world upside down, man. This world, is engulfed in suffering, in pain, in war, and there will never be no peace, until this man is taken down, because he's greedy. He's greedy, and which is why, the elites are pushing forth propaganda left and right, because they're looking for an excuse to really spar with Russia, really go into Russia, and and they want to be control of all the world's resources, and Russia has resources. All right, and they're not in control of Russia yet, so this is why they're doing all of this, and they're forcing Russia's hand to do what they did, and so forth. Now, the article says, Evgeny Norin, Buka needs to be properly investigated, not used for propaganda. The tragic civilian deaths must be assessed honestly, not used to fuel the information war. Now, Russian Today is, of course, a Russian news outlet. Now, I was going through Russia Today, and there's many articles, that counterbacks what the American propaganda machine is saying, right? If you go to the news, your regular news, whatever news app you got, you're going to see, atrocities were committed in the Ukraine by Russia. This, that, and the third. You're going to see that propaganda working, but then you also have the Russian propaganda, right? And, the reason why I bring this up is because the scriptures say this. This is Matthew 12:25. It says, It says, and Yahushai knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom, Salakia, divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. All right, so Esau's kingdom as a whole, his entire kingdom is divided. It's never been this divided ever. All right, which is going to cause war. It's going to create war. All right, and out of that war is going to come the absolute destruction of this man's kingdom, man. And we're closer than ever, man. You see, this is why you got the spirit of animosity between Russia and America, right? And then now Russia got, allies, such as China, North Korea, and I just read an article of Rocket Man talking about he will nuke South Korea. Now, South Korea is an American ally, okay? And then you got other members of the alliance, of America, France, the EU, okay, the rest of the beast, But needless to say, Russia is still within Esau's kingdom. You know what I mean? This is still their kingdom. It's Esau. The Russians are still Edomites. You see, and the Lord is putting the spirit on these devils to pretty much go against each other, to fight each other, to usher in this Third World War. As we just read, every kingdom divided against itself is going to be brought to desolation. And that's exactly what's happening. This is exactly what's happening. You got this article here by the Russians talking about, naysaying basically, the accusations of war crimes are not true, basically. And then you got the American opposition, making claims and accusations of war crimes. And truth be told, America's the biggest hypocritical nation in the planet, man. Because, a lot of war crimes were committed, in the Middle East and are still being committed. Africa, all right? You got a lot of war crimes being committed in Africa by these special forces troops, man. They send in the SEALs, the Delta Force, whatever, to do clandestine operations, and they go and totally fight outside of wartime law. Okay, they totally fight out of wartime law. Not to mention Iraq, all right, not to mention Afghanistan. The number of civilian deaths were through the roof. And they said, oh, we don't know who's an enemy or not, because the enemies disguise themselves as civilians. Well, you should never been there in the first place, damn devils. You see, they will claim, Iraq, whatever had WMDs, weapons of mass destruction, and it was nothing more than a horse, to go in there and stir up a ruckus. All right, this is Esau Edom, man, the so-called white man. This is his doing. Isaiah 9:5 says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." You see, because you have the conventional warfare, which is your army will land on a beach, will try to conquer or try to fulfill different objectives. Or you take it back in the ancient times, you had a sword with swords, men, tangling themselves and killing themselves. But the scriptures say that this war, this upcoming war, the last war, the war that will end all wars, will be with burning and fuel of fire, which is going to be fought nuclear. Okay, this is talking about these nuclear missiles that are going to be launched from Russia, from all these nations that have nukes, And America will be launching nukes, but America's going to get obliterated by the barrage of nukes, man, because that's the prophecy, of the Lord. All right. The Lord already predestined America to be destroyed, presuming Revelations, the 18th chapter, and many other scriptures that talks about Babylon, the new Babylon, because America is the new Babylon being destroyed. All right. Revelations 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Now, the second woe was World War II. Now, this third World War is going to be this third final woe. All right. And it's quickly. because it hasn't even been a full 100 years, a century, and now we're in the precipice of this Third World War. Okay, so you know, this is the reality, man. And there's a lot of people that said, not in my lifetime, this won't happen in my lifetime. Well, things are looking bad, man. Things are looking very bad. You have all kinds of sanctions being put on Russia, and that's going to cause a famine, because Russia is like one of the leading producers of grain in the world. Wheat, barley, and so forth. All right. You're gonna get other countries pissed off. Then you got all kinds of embargoes. You got the trade war with China. You got, the whole world right now is in a spirit of war. And let me guess this. And that's scriptural. That's scripture. This is Ecclesiastes 3:8. It says, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. We're in a time of war, man. The Lord has ordained, a time for everything. Right now it's not the time, of love and peace, man. The world is engulfed in war. It may not yet be, a hot war, right? Against the real, the real superpowers like America, killing Russians or whatnot. But, the whole world has chosen sides, and it's evident. You can clearly see it, and I'm just talking about the propaganda, the back and forth between Russia and America, but in every level, in the sanctioning, the economic part of it, which is very, very important, because when you cripple a nation's economy, you're starving out their people, you see. And once you start starving out people, people become desperate. Just like when you trap a mouse in a corner, the mouse is gonna attack with all it got, because it sees no other way. You see, kind of like what Japan did in World War One. You see, Japan was being embargoed so much, put under so many sanctions and shit. They decided to take it upon themselves, not to starve. And to go out and stretch their empire. You see, and Russia might do the same, man. Russia might do the same. It might be cornered, all right, and attack. Attack America, attack NATO. And you're talking about World War III. Now this is Joel 3:10. Which is, a good scripture we always bring out, signaling World War III. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Salakia, let me start up a verse. Joel 3:9. It says, proclaim you this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I'm strong. Assemble yourselves, and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be weakened, and come up to the valley of Yahweh, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. All right, so that valley of decision, is in the Middle East. All right, now all these nations eventually are going to get drawn to the Middle East, because right now there's a big a struggle for energy. Biden talking about clean energy, and which is nothing but a farce, right? Because these devils, they're greedy, they're greedy. All right. And then you got this thing with the petrodollar, all right, which that's the only thing that's holding the American currency right now is that petrodollar. That in order to buy oil, you need to buy it in dollars. You see? So, most of the oil comes from the Middle East. There's a big chunk of the oil comes from Middle East, Venezuela, and America's a big producer of oil. But you see that America has shut down their pipes and they're getting it from overseas. All right. So there's, primarily there's oil, it's attracting all these heathens, all these nations, heathenistic nations over there, man. And this is why they never going to be able to leave the Middle East. Why? Because that's where the Lord's going to stomp them. Okay. That's where the Lord's going to stomp them. The Lord's going to come back and the Lord's going to stomp them. Now it says here, the sun, the 15th verse, the sun and the moon shall be darkened and the stars shall withdraw their shining. You see? And what's gonna cause that? What's gonna cause it is these thermonuclear fire, man. The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. You see, and that's the end game, man. The elect are gonna get delivered out of this third world war.